is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here for AEW Dynamite Off the Script. This is your official review for Wednesday, October 16th, 2019. Oh, Philly, I love you, man. I don't love your baseball team, but man, do I love that city. The crowd brought it tonight. It was a great episode of AEW Dynamite, spearheaded, as always, by the AEW Tag Team Division. A lot of matches tonight, literally the entire show, outside of two championship matches. The AEW World Championship with Chris Jericho and Darby Allin, which was a street fight in the middle of Philadelphia. And Riho defending her women's championship against Dr. Britt Baker. Every match on tonight's show was a tag team match. And I love it, man. Tag team wrestling is thriving. It is alive and well in Jacksonville, Florida, man. Now, I wish it was alive and well in Stamford, Connecticut, but fuck those other guys, man. You can't really get anything across to them, and their creative sucks, and I don't even think they could get their creative right on a week-to-week basis. Never mind the tag team division, but we don't want to talk about that. We'll talk about that horrendous show on Friday. We're going to talk AEW tonight, right here for Dynamite on Wednesday night. Another great effort from AEW. These shows are great. They're not perfect, but they are damn enjoyable. The 2 hours just goes by. And I will say this every single week, until they don't do it anymore, which I don't foresee them doing. I will say it every single week. Consistency, man. This is what I want out of my wrestling show. Everything that we do when we wake up, when we go about our daily lives, everything has to be consistent. You know, I imagine that there's going to be ups and downs, but consistency, man. Every single show that AEW has had, which is 3 right now, and those 3 have been very, very solid. Everything that happened on week 1 went into week 2. Everything that happened on week 2 went into week 3. Everything that happened tonight is going to go into week 4. Consistency. That's all I want. Consistency, and I want to be excited about what happens on next week's show, which they have done every single week. Whether it's the tournament, which is great so far, or whether it's just something as simple as announcing, which is foreign language to WWE, announcing on the current show that we're watching what is taking place next week. So we have it in our minds what is taking place next week, and we can think, oh, Dynamite tonight, Moxley and Pac is happening next week. I can't wait. You got the Lucha Brothers versus Private Party. I can't wait. I love it. Consistency. Now, it wasn't a perfect show by any means, and we're going to go over those little things that have been bothering me. They are getting better at fixing the mistakes. Little things such as time management tonight. I don't know if you guys felt the same way I did, but I am a real stickler for these little attention to detail things that I notice on the show. Time management tonight. That tag team match with the Lucha Brothers and the Jurassic Express went way too long, and then I honestly thought that fucked up the main event with Darby Allin and Chris Jericho. The show went off the air very, very suddenly, so time management. And the fact that they need the announcers, and I know that they do the best job that they possibly can. They're not bad by any means. The announcers have to get across better in these type of situations what the referee is thinking. What the referee is thinking. And we'll go over exactly what I'm talking about because it happened in the main event, and I'm sure you guys know exactly what I am talking about. The rope breaks that the crowd in Philadelphia at an AEW show were shitting all over. You gotta get that point across. You got to take that situation and let us know at home what is going on. Because you can't expect the fans to think one thing and then ignore what is actually happening in front of you. So we'll go over all that today on the podcast. But in the end, it was still a great show. 2 hours. It flew by. I enjoyed myself. I'm sure you guys did. That's why you're here. And we'll go over the show tonight right here on Off the Script. If you guys missed my Monday Night Raw review, I'm sure you all missed Monday Night Raw because it sucks. But if you guys missed my Monday Night Raw review, link is down in the description of this very video. If you guys missed my AEW Off the Script Elite podcast, The number one place for all your AEW news and rumors. That went up yesterday. Thank you guys so much for the support on that. Link is down below in the description. If you guys missed Off the Script, episode 295 this weekend, go and check it out, man. I can't wait to sit down and record this weekend's podcast. I got so much news on Eric Bischoff that it's going to make your head explode, but I don't even consider it news. I don't even consider it news because if you guys have been listening to me at all in the last, I would say, 4 months, you would have already knew this was going to happen. You all knew this was going to happen. You knew exactly why when the headline read, Eric Bischoff fired from WWE. You knew exactly what had happened and the reason for his termination. All you probably thought was, well, JD mentioned this 4 months ago. I can't wait to sit down and talk about it and tell you again, you know what? I told you so. Eric Bischoff fired. We're going to talk about that this weekend on Off the Script. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206. Please do so. I was live tweeting during the show tonight. I live tweet during Monday, during Wednesday, during Friday on Smackdown, and pay-per-views and special events. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. Twitter is the place to be, at JD from NY206. Same on Instagram, so Twitter and Instagram are the same thing, JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below, man. Don't let me find out you guys didn't hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, turn on that bell and make sure you are notified of all my uploads because we upload 7 days a week. There's no sleep here, man. There's no sleep at all. So make sure you guys do that for me as well. And if you guys want to support the podcast on Patreon, shout out to my patrons, patreon.com/JD from NY206. And the podcast tonight is brought to you by Audible. Audibletrial.com/offthescript. Simply, guys, if you want to support the podcast and get something for free tonight, Audible's got you covered. When you use our unique link, audibletrial.com/offthescript, Audible is going to give you 30 days free of their service and 1 free audiobook of your choice. Best part is, guys, if you feel like Audible's not for you at the end of this or in the middle of your trial, you guys can cancel at any time and still get to keep your audiobook for free. It is a great deal. It's a great way to support the show. audibletrial.com/offthescript. You got over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are wrestling related. It doesn't have to be wrestling related, but if you guys want an audiobook, help yourself thanks to the podcast. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Now, as you guys know, every single Tuesday, for the last 3 Tuesdays, I've been doing an off-the-script elite podcast where we talk about everything all elite wrestling. And I think it's going incredibly well. It's a lot better for me and a lot better for you, where you guys know if you're interested in AEW, where you guys can go to get your news. I don't want to mix it in with the WWE stuff because some people might not like AEW. Some people might just want WWE. And I figured, you know what? Let's do the thing on Tuesday. Let's get all the AEW news rounded up and just give it to everybody in one day, just solely AEW. And every Tuesday, for the last 3 Tuesdays, I've been going over what is going to happen on the show on Wednesday. Go over the match card, give my thoughts on the show, just some brief thoughts on the previous week's show. And the one thing that I mentioned this week, and I'm going to mention it again because AEW clearly didn't do anything differently than they did last week. And NXT is a culprit of this as well. Now, I haven't watched NXT tonight. I'm not going to watch it tonight after this is over. I cannot handle 4 hours of wrestling in one night. I just can't do it. No matter how good the wrestling is, I don't want to sit and watch wrestling for 4 hours. I'm just going to watch it tomorrow morning. But NXT has been a culprit of this as well. It's match, and no break in between. AEW did the same thing last week. They did the same thing this week. Match. But the only time in between in which they took a break from match was a fantastic video package for Cody Rhodes and his world title match with Chris Jericho at Full Gear. I wish that they would give a promo or someone a live microphone. It could be anybody. Make me care about somebody. Make one of the tag teams in the tournament cut a promo before the tournament match takes place. Have the previous week's winner, who's going to be sitting at ringside anyway, cut a promo with them. Go over why they thought the win over the Bucks. It could be Private Party. It could be anybody. Private Party could have been in the ring being interviewed by Tony Schiavone on live TV, making people care about them even more so than people cared about them last week after beating the Young Bucks. Go over why the win over the Bucks was so important. What their next plan of attack is against either the Lucha Brothers or the Jurassic Express. Get their opinion on Luchasaurus going down with injury in this tournament. Something to break up the match formula. Now, I know, being a commentary for House of Glory, that we also do the same thing, and we have done the same thing for the last couple of shows. It's match, and no 15-minute break, or there's no promo in between. I got to sit down with the guys and go over a different, slightly different, not vastly different, but slightly different strategy where it breaks up that monotony. Give the fans a come down, just slightly. You don't want them to come down too much, but a promo of some sort. That's why I thought it was imperative that AEW do it this week, because the shows, no matter how good they are, and they've been very good, it's just that they need to break up that constant formula with just something. They got a roster that half of us don't even know, and they haven't even unleashed 50% of their roster. Make me care about something. Give me a video package on somebody else. Anything. So hopefully they get this right and they start tweaking the formula a little bit when they get more comfortable with managing TV time and getting the flow of the show down the way that they want. Because right now, yes, they're giving the fans what they want, but it's just in your face, match after match after match after match with literally no break in between. So that is right now, that's probably my biggest criticism of AEW. Let me know what you guys think about all of that. The one thing that they did fix, that I did complain about in the first couple of weeks, was the theme music being way too low in the past couple of weeks. They got it somewhat right this week, and I actually heard everybody's theme music tonight. Whether it's good or not, I don't really give a shit. I just wanted to hear theme music and just get the feel of everybody's ring entrance tonight. Now, I don't know who's composing their music. Some of these theme musics I didn't really care for. I love the Lucha Brothers theme. I think that's fucking awesome. LAX, it's got a nice beat to it. It fits them and who they are, but man, it is going to be very difficult. It's going to take a lot for me to really get over their old theme song. Because when they came out, especially when they were babyface and they came out, man, just that whole vibe was just so great. So I got to get used to them being a heel team and being with Jericho and having this new theme music. I gotten used to Private Parties. I heard Kenny's clear. I heard Adam Hangman Page. I heard Pac. I heard Pac's theme music this week. So they got that right. Hopefully they start tweaking it a little bit more, because that's the one thing that WWE does brilliantly. The presentation of everybody, ring entrances and theme music, and just the overall presentation when everybody's making their way down to the ring. If you are lucky enough to even get a fucking ring entrance, just ask the Revival. But that's what they do perfectly. Hopefully AEW can get on board with that and start tweaking that to where their presentation can be just as good as what WWE does. But other than that, man, the show was pretty damn good tonight. There's one little thing that we'll go over in the main event that I didn't really like. And I know you guys know what it is. And we're going to hone in on that when we talk about the Jericho and Darby Allin World Championship match in the main event. This tag team tournament is going to be a thing of beauty, man. Even though there was a little hiccup in the tournament, and my team is ousted, and my team really didn't stand the chance with fucking Marco Stunt in there, this tournament has been absolutely fantastic. I love everything about this tournament. Now, my new favorites are not the Jurassic Express, being that they got eliminated tonight. Now we're going with Private Party. Because anything else is just going to be very predictable. So if not WWE, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry! Gotta get used to this! If WWE would be fucking lucky and thrilled to have a team like Private Party. If AEW really wants to get behind and strap the rocket pack to Private Party, then they need to win this tournament. This is something that could ultimately work in their favor, and I think that's the right move to make. So we'll see what happens as we go on. Do you guys, I swear, I'm not even editing it out. I don't know if you heard it. I don't know if you heard it. Fucking Siri goes off. My phone is sitting over there. My phone is sitting over there, and it went off. Why? What's with this? What's with this new technology? Are they listening in to me? Speak! I didn't mention anything about the S word. Siri. It's like someone's listening to me fucking record the podcast. Anyway, Private Party, strap the rocket pack to them. They got to win the AEW Tag Team Championships. SCU, a fan favorite here in this tournament. They were going up against the Best Friends, and before things even got started, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. blasted SCU during their ring entrance. Phoenix rams Kazarian into the ring post. Pentagon, my goodness, man. Pentagon Jr. Spike pile drived, or package pile drived, fucking Christopher Daniels on the ramp, and it looked nasty. Now, I tried to find out what was going on. I tried to scour the internet, if anybody was saying anything on Twitter. The referee held up the X. Now, I don't know if that was legit or if it was just thrown in the air to really add severity to the entire situation, and hopefully he's okay. But the referee threw up the X in this moment after the pile driver. So hopefully at the end of the night, going on into tomorrow morning when we get the news coming out of this show, hopefully Christopher Daniels is okay, because that pile driver on the ramp looked absolutely fucking devastating. Scorpio Sky ran out and chased Phoenix and Pentagon away. He tripped over Kazarian, who was laying on the floor. He ran into a cameraman's cable. It was just sheer chaos to open Dynamite tonight on TNT. So Rick Knox, the referee, was going to call this match off. Scorpio Sky's like, no, let me fill in. Don't end the match because of something that we had no control over. We didn't expect this to happen. Don't blame us for this. Let us have at least a fighting chance in this thing against the Best Friends. Let us try and get into the next round. So Rick Knox let the match happen while Christopher Daniels was being gurneyed away. He got carried away on a stretcher. We had Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian as SCU take on Best Friends. And this was awesome. And I have to mention this because I'm not sure if anybody else is going to mention this. And this is a thing of beauty, man, because if this was WWE, they would have gotten this all fucked up and they would have just completely ruined the entire moment. I remember vividly, it was last year, when WWE did this 1 week suspension of Roman Reigns heading into SummerSlam. They suspended, Vince McMahon suspended Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar was on Monday Night Raw. And Roman Reigns jumps the barricade like a couple weeks before SummerSlam, and he hijacks Monday Night Raw. Now, the guy's suspended. First of all, how the fuck did he even get in the building? And if he's suspended and not on the active roster for that week, why are you in your ring gear? So he jumped the barricade, he's in his tactical vest, and he's standing in the middle of the ring, sitting in the ring, with a steel chair, waiting for Brock Lesnar, gloating Brock Lesnar to come out. This is attention to detail, folks. It's sheer stupidity. Now, WWE constantly makes that mistake, not only with Roman Reigns, but with everybody. What did AEW do here? Scorpio Sky was not a part of this team. It was Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. They are the team that SCU put together for the entirety of this tournament. Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian were going to wrestle throughout this entire tournament. Whether they won or lost, Scorpio Sky had nothing to do with wrestling this entire tournament. So what did he come out doing? Was he in wrestling gear? No. He came out in jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers. He came out in street clothes. So he came out to defend his friends. He convinced Rick Knox to let them continue this tournament, let them fight, no matter if he was prepared or not, and they actually had the match. And Scorpio Sky, unprepared, was in street clothes. And, to add even more attention to detail, he went into I don't know if it was a medical pack with the medical staff that was there taking care of Christopher Daniels. He went into, I believe, a medical pack, and he took out some tape and taped his wrists up during the fucking ring entrance while he stood on the apron. This is brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. Now, it might be something that some people on social media overlook and might not be a big deal to some people. It's a big deal to me because Scorpio Sky was someone who was sitting in the back. He was not on the card. He was not prepared to wrestle at that moment in that opening segment. There's no reason why he should have his wrestling clothes on because that is what should be. The unpredictability of it, the fact that he was unprepared, he didn't expect it, and the fact that he came out in street clothes, and the fact that Rick Knox made him fight the way he was with Frankie Kazarian to advance in this tournament, that alone shows you the importance of the tag team title tournament. I love it. I absolutely love it. This was a fantastic match. SCU and Best Friends tore it down in this match in the first round for the tag team title tournament. Kazarian and Taylor got things started, and Kazarian was beat up by the Lucha Brothers, so SCU was fighting from behind even before the bell rung. Taylor goes right after Kazarian's already dinged up back because of what happened with the Lucha Brothers. Pile driver into a knee strike on Kazarian. Sky gets in there, breaks up the count. Sky's sneaker comes off, and Chucky T takes the sneaker and throws it in the aisleway. So Scorpio Sky wrestled this match with one sneaker on, and that's going to come into play a little bit later. So they started to bite Scorpio Sky's foot, being that he had his sneaker thrown into the aisleway. Taylor with the double stomp on Sky's back. Trent hit his spear on Kazarian out on the floor. Back in the ring, Trent continues to work over Kazarian. Some chops. They sit him up on the turnbuckle. Kazarian fights off for a brief moment, but Taylor gets under Trent's legs to help lift him up, and they hit a suplex combination or a electric chair superplex combination on Frankie Kazarian, which looked great. That was a 2 count. Sky gets in there, gets a tag. He has one shoe, and he was able to really mount some offense on both guys. Sky looked to fly, but Taylor stopped him. Taylor went for a senton out to the floor, and he mistakenly hit his own partner, Trent Beretta, on the outside. Kazarian with a Hurricane Rana from the ring down to the floor on Taylor. Sky flips over the ropes in his street clothes in one shoe and does a Tope Con Hero over the top. Sky then gets back into the ring, and he's so pumped at this moment. He takes off his other shoe and throws it into the crowd. Crowd is going crazy at this point. The crowd takes the shoe and throws it back into the ring, and Rick Knox, the referee, kind of fucked up the moment because you knew Scorpio Sky was going to take that shoe and throw it into the crowd, and the crowd started booing the referee because he threw the shoe out of the ring and got it out of the match. So it was fucking pandemonium for the first 20 minutes of AEW Dynamite tonight. So the crowd then started the chant of, "He's got no shoes. He's got no shoes." What a fucking concept. Hey, Vince, you listening, bro? Fans at a wrestling show that are having a good time. Get with the program. Trent gets thrown into the corner, rolling elbow by Sky. Kazarian tags in. Beautiful springboard leg drop. Best Friends then hit a foot to the face and half suplex on Kazarian. They go for a hug. Sky breaks that up. He comes in and he blasts Chucky T to break up the hug. Crowd is starting to boo. So they're all for Scorpio Sky, but when Sky breaks up the hug attempt, they start booing. So they went from babyface to heel in a matter of minutes. So Sky then eats a rising knee strike, followed by a flying knee by, I believe, Beretta. Then they get the hug in. Kazarian gets put on Taylor's shoulders. Trent with a big doomsday knee off the top rope. Only a 2 count. I thought that was it. I really thought that was it. And Frankie Kazarian had just a little bit of life left in him. Trent trying to pile drive Kazarian on the apron. He gets back body dropped on the apron. And Sky put a stop to that, which led to the back body drop by Kazarian. Sky stopped his foot in mid pile driver. So Kazarian back body dropped him. Trent on the apron. Sky tagged in. Powerbomb dropkick combo on Trent for the 1, 2, 3. Looked like it was botched Don't really know what happened there. I know that the commentary team tried to sell it off or play it off as if it was really supposed to happen that way, but it did look a little botched. I don't know if Frankie Kazarian was legitimately just fatigued at that moment, couldn't get him up in the pile driver, dropped him. Scorpio Sky barely got the drop kick there. It does lead to a victory, 1-2-3, and SCU win via pinfall to advance to the semifinals of the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament. Two things here that I want to make note of. Number one, this match was fantastic. SCU was the right choice in this thing for a winner because nobody wants to see the Best Friends and the Dark Order again. We've seen it twice. We don't need to see it again. And the fact that SCU are so over, especially after tonight, and they will be over no matter what city this happens in, they will be a great foil for the Dark Order. I don't think they're going to beat the Dark Order, but by the looks of things, we could be headed for a Lucha Brothers SCU final, and the Lucha Brothers could be the inaugural AEW Tag Team Champions. I don't know. The way they're playing it off sounds way too predictable. And SCU did not get their revenge on the Lucha Brothers. Maybe they're waiting for their spot. Maybe they're going to pick their spot when Private Party and the Lucha Brothers have their match. Maybe SCU is going to pay them back when the time is right. And they're going to get the Lucha Brothers back in that match with the Private Party. I don't know. Because it would be a great thing if Private Party advances and it's all because of SCU. I think that's great. You don't really want to beat SCU, or you don't want to beat the Lucha Brothers. I get it. You don't want to beat the Lucha Brothers. The Young Bucks are a different story. They're the executive vice presidents. They want to put people over, but they're investing in the Lucha Brothers as well. They're investing in all of these young teams. They want to get the names of these teams out there. You don't want to beat the Lucha Brothers. You want to have everybody that's a top-tier tag team in this division looking strong. So I think SCU is going to pick their plan of attack next week when we see the Lucha Brothers in Private Party. And SCU against the Dark Order, that team in SCU is going to be a great babyface team for the Dark Order to beat. So we'll see what happens. But I think with the way that this happened, the team of the Best Friends, they really don't look good at all, being that the Lucha Brothers beat these guys to death at the beginning of their show and then lose to a team that they were definitely in line to beat after the attack, and they ended up losing. So how does that make the Best Friends look? Doesn't make them look good, I'll tell you that. So SCU advances, they beat the Best Friends, they go on to get one with the Dark Order, and we got the Lucha Brothers versus Private Party happening next week as well. Should be awesome for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Santana and Ortiz, they don't have a formal name yet. Proud and Powerful, I believe, is what they're going to go with eventually. Don't know why they're not being called that yet. Santana and Ortiz sounds a little dull and boring. They went 2-on-2 against John Silver and Alex Reynolds, the Beaver Boys. This one was a glorified squash match, which only served its purpose to set up the Young Bucks versus LAX at Full Gear. So this one was very basic. Street sweeper, cover, 1, 2, 3. That was it. This was nothing more than a warm-up for LAX. After the match was over, Chris Jericho showed up on the big screen, and he was celebrating that his guys won a match. He says they're going to continue to dominate and run through everybody in the AEW Tag Team division. Jericho says Santana and Ortiz want the Young Bucks at Full Gear. I can't wait. It's going to be a possible match of the year candidate for all of wrestling at Full Gear. This is something when I called LAX in House of Glory for 2 years. 2 years. I've always said on commentary that LAX is such an influential tag team. They're on the cusp of being an influential tag team to all of pro wrestling like the Young Bucks have been to pro wrestling. And here we are in 2019 to close the last pay-per-view of the year for AEW. We're getting LAX versus the Young Bucks in a tag team match that is going to put the entire tag team world on notice. You're a tag team that wants shine. You're a tag team that wants an opportunity. Open your eyes and watch these guys go to work at Full Gear. Wherever you decide to go, this is going to easily sway your decision on where you want to go, WWE or AEW, if you're a tag team. There's no reason to go to WWE. Their tag team division is dead. I'm still waiting for WWE to get on board with tag team wrestling after what AEW has done not only in week 1, week 2, and here in week 3, and will continue to do as Dynamite airs every Wednesday. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait. Full Gear is shaping up to be one hell of a fucking show. There was a vignette for Cody Rhodes and his world title match at Full Gear against Chris Jericho. Cody, Brandy were in the beginning of this vignette. Brandy Rhodes was going over an itinerary of Cody, and he was sitting there just contemplating, and you heard Brandy Rhodes' voice fade out in the vignette promo package. He got up, he kissed Brandy, he walked out, and then he got into his Ford Explorer, I believe, and he started driving, just contemplating self-thought on the road. It's a great way to just leave everything behind and just hit the road, hit the open road. A lot of great thinking happens on the open road. This video package was fucking awesome. It was so good. So they interviewed Diamond Dallas Page, they interviewed Tony Schiavone, they interviewed MJF, they interviewed Jim Ross. Everybody talking about how Cody has to balance the upcoming match with his EVP duties. That Jericho, Jim Ross even said it, Jericho doesn't have anything to worry about but that title and that title defense. Cody Rhodes is the executive vice president, or a executive vice president of AEW, and he's got this to worry about, and the world championship match. Tony Schiavone and MJF also were in this thing with Diamond Dallas Page. Clips were shown of Cody training and just going over how important this match is to Cody. Diamond Dallas Page saying that Cody has accumulated one hell of a career. He's done things in this business that nobody else has done. He was going over what Dusty Rhodes would say about first times. You might have done everything that you've dreamed of in pro wrestling, but nothing is greater than that first ever world championship. And I loved everything about this promo. It was shot so beautifully. And the one thing, again, folks, attention to detail. Cody Rhodes didn't say one single thing in this video promo package. He said something to Brandy. That sounds great. That's it. He kissed her on the forehead and walked out of the house. And all you seen was all of Cody's entourage, DDP, Schiavone, Ross, MJF, go over what Cody was thinking in that moment for this title match. And we seen Cody training. Cody didn't utter one single word. That's how you do it. If you didn't watch one episode of AEW and you seen that, you would have gotten yourself excited about this title match happening at Full Gear. Awesome. Riho versus Britt Baker for the AEW Women's World Championship. This was a title defense for Riho. She is really treading on that fighting champion status. I like this. I thought this was good. It wasn't great by any means. The AEW Women's Division is sorely lacking. I will say that. And there's one thing about the Women's Division and the women's matches that we've seen so far in AEW. They have some notable names. They really do. I like Britt Baker. I like Riho. I like Nyla Rose. Some of you might not like Nyla Rose. I love Bea Priestley. We got to see more Bea Priestley on this show. She has it. She just has that look about her that I don't want to say is going to be your cup of tea, but to me, you look at Bea Priestley and her intensity and just her overall makeup, she has the it factor. She commands your attention just by the way she looks and the way she operates in the middle of that ring. That's who I want to see on TV. Britt Baker and Riho, I don't know what it is. The same thing happened with Nyla Rose and Riho. I don't know what it is. Whether it's the fact that they're on live TV for the first time, whether it's the language barrier with Riho, I don't know what it is. I don't want to sit here and say, you know, these women suck. Don't watch them. Don't support them. Go watch NXT and their women's division, which I think right now is the best women's division in all of wrestling. It's very difficult to argue that. Absolutely 100% best women's division in all of wrestling. I don't want to sit here and blast these women, but the same thing that happened in Nyla Rose versus Riho, the same thing happened here. It's just something is off. Something is sloppy about the women's matches on AEW. Now, Riho won this thing, and the match might not have been great, But that ending was absolutely fantastic. The ending was fantastic. Riho was going back and forth. Britt was nailing Riho with some stiff strikes. Riho looked completely out of it. Riho hits a Northern Light suplex after a few palm strikes, open palm strikes on Britt Baker. Baker retaliated with some punches to the face. Riho then comes back out of nowhere with a Northern Light suplex for a 2 count. Riho then, with a single leg Boston Crab, Baker gets to the ropes. Riho drags her back into the middle of the ring. Baker then gets to the ropes eventually. Riho with a double stomp off the top rope to the back of Britt Baker, goes for the cover, only a 2 count. Double knee strike to the back of the head, cover, 2 count. Riho charges in, misses, and runs herself into the turnbuckle. I thought this was it. I thought Britt Baker was going to win the championship at this point. Baker with a ripcord elbow strike. Baker then goes for a lockjaw, her submission move. The crossface, or the Rings of Saturn / mandible claw type move that she does. She's calling it the lockjaw. Riho fights it off, and Baker tries it again. Now, Mr. Rollins, Seth, champ, next time, you got the mandible claw coming at you from the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Maybe you should take a nice lesson from little old Riho here. Close your mouth. Riho, how do you block the mandible claw? Lock your jaw. Pun intended. Lock your jaw. Riho shut her mouth. She clamped her mouth shut, so Britt Baker couldn't get the mandible claw on her. But Britt was so worried and so just incensed with getting the mandible claw on Riho that Riho, in the time that Britt Baker was struggling to get the claw on her, reversed the lockjaw and got a pin, a leverage pin on Britt Baker, and she pins Britt Baker, and she retains the Women's Championship. A very, very, very clever ending to this Women's Championship match. I thought the ending was fantastic. The match was decent. The Nyla Rose match with Riho was decent, but this ending was fantastic. Again, I don't know what it is. I'm not a big fan of Riho. I am not. But I am going to be level-headed here, and I'm going to say, don't shun these women just yet. It is a work in progress. And I think Brandy Rhodes, who oversees the women's division, I think AEW as a whole knows what's going on. Riho doesn't speak any English, so the language barrier could be there. You know, Britt Baker might not be able to relay what she wants to do to Riho because Riho can't understand what Britt Baker is saying. So calling a match with somebody who doesn't speak English, I can imagine, is a very difficult task. Britt Baker, I don't want to shit on Britt Baker because the potential is truly there. It's not that she doesn't move good in the ring. She is not as fluid as I remember. A lot of people are going to pinpoint, oh, Britt Baker's the face of the company. They promoted her first. They signed her first to the AEW women's division. And everybody thought that Britt Baker was going to be the inaugural women's champion. But you got to think that Britt Baker, you know, she just finished dental school about a year ago. Don't know how much training she's had outside of that. This is legitimately her first in-ring match on live television. So she might be nervous. The potential is there, but Britt Baker is still learning more so than anything. And again, I don't want you guys to shun the women's division. I don't want you to say the women's division sucks. It's going to be a work in progress. And they're building things very slowly. And hopefully those pieces fall into place where they need to be. But they have to get it and fast. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's got to be now. I'm gonna be patient because I see the potential there. Everybody loves Riho. Everybody loves Riho. She's incredibly over. Britt Baker is incredibly over. Everybody loves Britt Baker. But there are things working against them, and there are things that we need to sit down and really understand about what's going on with the women. Nyla Rose even. She doesn't have a lot of experience. I don't know, nor do I care what she did before AEW. This is the big leagues now. Nyla Rose has zero experience. She's had zero TV experience. Same thing with Riho. All these women have zero TV experience. It's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be a work in progress. But the ending here was absolutely fantastic. Riho wins via pinfall. She retains the women's championship. And they shook hands. And that was it. That was it. No attack. No attack by Britt Baker. I could see a heel turn coming for Britt Baker eventually. I could see her go Adam Cole on somebody. So we'll see what happens. But Baker didn't look happy. She did put out her hand anyway. Riho shakes it, and there was a little bit of respect there at the end of this match. Jim Ross says that Christopher Daniels suffered a stinger after getting a package piledriver on the ramp from Pentagon Jr. Again, I don't know if that's legit, though Rick Knox threw up the X during that first segment on the show, so I have to find that out, and I guess we'll talk about it next Tuesday on Off the Script Elite. Lucha Brothers versus the Jurassic Express, or I should say one half of the Jurassic Express AEW Tag Team Tournament match. This was an absolute slaughter. This was a slaughter. Lucha Brothers win, and they advance to the semifinals. You're probably asking, why is Marco Stunt in the ring? And if you're a casual who never watched AEW before, you're probably asking, who the fuck is this little boy? He looks like he's 12 years old. Luchasaurus reportedly injured, removed from the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament match tonight, and replaced by Marco Stunt. According to PW Insider, Luchasaurus is dealing with a hamstring injury and will not compete in the AEW Tag Team Tournament. That was scheduled tonight. Clearly, Marco Stunt was there. AEW made the call earlier this afternoon to remove him from the match in hopes he doesn't further aggravate the injury. And that is all that is being reported right now. It did not happen in ring. It did not happen while training. It happened in a non-activity type situation, which has to be fucking devastating for him, because every single person that looked at these tournament brackets, everybody that I listened to anyway, via podcast, predicted Jurassic Express to win this entire thing. And we've been waiting for them. We've been waiting for them to debut on television on the live show on Wednesday. And then we get Marco Stunt. So when I seen Marco Stunt come out, I'm going to be genuinely honest with you, man. I wish Luchasaurus back sooner rather than later. I hope it's not a serious injury. I hope he's not going to be out for a long period of time. Because God forbid if we got to see Marco Stunt. You know, it really leaves, especially in a tag team situation, it leaves your partner just waiting and waiting and waiting. And just leaving your partner in this sea of just, you know, nothing. While the other half of your team is trying to get back and healthy. God forbid we got to see Marco Stunt, but I genuinely felt sadness when I seen Jungle Boy come out and Luchasaurus was not there. And I knew as soon as that injury was announced, you knew the Lucha Brothers were going to win this thing. There was no way that Marco Stunt was going to go over either Pentagon or Phoenix in this thing. This was an absolute slaughter. It did bring a smile to my face, even though the Jurassic Express were my picks to win this thing, and Marco Stunt replaced Luchasaurus. It brought a huge smile to my face to see both Pentagon and Phoenix literally beat the shit out of Marco Stunt. This guy, listen, he may be your cup of tea. You might be all over the fucking indie darlings. This guy, I'm telling you right now, man, he does not belong in the ring. I don't give a shit what anybody tells me. I don't give a shit if you are a fan of Marco Stunt or not. This guy looks so out of place, man. I don't even know what to compare it to. Having him stand in the ring across from Pentagon Jr. is a fucking joke. This guy sucks. Now, he might be athletic, he might be fucking flips and dives and cool shit, but the fact that he is who he is and his height and his demeanor and him fucking doing Fortnite dances in the middle of the ring, this is not the perception that AEW needs to have right now. Because I just got an overwhelming... I hope you didn't, because the match was still good. I hope you didn't look at him and then pick up the remote control and go watch NXT. Because you missed a damn good match. Now, he got the living shit kicked out of him for about 15 minutes. But it was a great thing to see. And Jungle Boy doesn't deserve that. Jungle Jack Perry, as Jim Ross calls him, is fantastic. I love him. This was a slaughter. This was very pleasurable to watch. Marco Stunt and Pentagon get things going here. Pentagon gave him the Sierra Miedo in the middle of the ring. And I love when Pentagon takes his glove off in the manner that he does. He does it very slowly, like he's peeling a fucking banana. Right? He didn't throw it at the referee, though. He threw it at Jungle Boy, the glove. And he goes at it with Marco Stunt. Stunt bites his fingers. Jungle Boy Gets in there and lifts Stunt on his shoulders. He leaps off of Jungle Boy, does Stunt, and hits a Hurricane Rana on Pentagon. Stunt tries to do the same to Pentagon. He throws him off of Phoenix. And Stunt hits him with a DDT. So Stunt is getting some offense here on the Lucha Brothers. Jungle Boy hits a DDT on Pentagon Jr. Stunt with a suicide dive to the floor on Phoenix. It looked like legitimately Phoenix was carrying a little boy through the supermarket after the dive. It looked ridiculous. It looked ridiculous. So after the suicide dive on the outside, Jungle Boy with an Asai moonsault on Pentagon. Jungle Boy lifts and flips Stunt down on Pentagon. So they got their offense in early here. So the Lucha Brothers were taken off guard by the quick offense of the half Jurassic Express, I guess. Jungle Boy back in, Stunt kicks Pentagon in the head. Jungle Boy with a German suplex. This was pretty much, after all this offense from the Jurassic Express early in this match, this was nothing more than, let's beat the living shit out of Marco Stunt for about 12 minutes before we get a epic conclusion to this thing. So, Stunt is getting his ass handed to him. He eats a big pump-handle driver. Pentagon argues with the referee. Pentagon with a big kick that flips Stunt down to the mat. And they start going at Marco Stunt, both him and Phoenix. So, Stunt lands a kip up. He eventually gets some offense here. Kip up, low drop kick. Both Jungle Boy and Phoenix are tagged in. Jungle Boy, rising elbow. Reverse DDT on Pentagon. Stunt with a suicide dive on Pentagon. Jungle Boy with a back flip knee strike on Phoenix. Stunt with a 450 splash off the top rope. Running shooting star press by Jungle Boy. Only a 2 count. So crowd is really into it. Like I said, this was a good match. It was just a mindfuck to see Marco Stunt in there. Pentagon gets in there with a Canadian Destroyer on Jungle Boy. Devastated him with that Canadian Destroyer. Pentagon swings Stunt around by his hair, which really wasn't. You seen him interlocking the hands, and he airplane spinned Marco Stunt right down to the mat, threw him around like a piece of garbage. Pentagon with an arm breaker, he snaps Marco Stunt's arm, package pile driver, double stomp combo for the cover, and the Lucha Brothers win and advance to the semifinals. One thing in this match I forgot to mention, it's in my notes. I don't know how I overlooked this. Phoenix was chopping both Stunt and Jungle Boy. Now, Phoenix had the wrist locked. Phoenix did his little dance on the ropes. He jumps on the middle and the top rope. He hits an enziguri to Marco Stunt, who was sitting perched on the top turnbuckle, and he arm drags Jungle Boy down to the mat, all in one motion. Ray Phoenix is a fucking just poetic motherfucker. That's the best way for me to put it. It was awesome. So, and then he does a twisting splash out to the floor on Jungle Boy. Phoenix is awesome. Lucha Brothers win. They're going on to battle the Private Party in what I cannot wait for next week in the semifinals of the AEW Tag Team Tournament. Jon Moxley was interviewed. It was a nice little fucking cut scene here before the tag team match. Jon Moxley says one injury isn't going to keep him down. The pecking order is still him at the top in All Elite Wrestling. He says he wants to mount Omega's head on his wall. I'm sure Renee Young would love that. Pac and Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. Happy birthday to Kenny Omega, by the way. It was his birthday today. Crowd with a happy birthday chant. Pac and Moxley do not like each other. That was very well apparent in this match. And we got Page and Omega winning what was a hellacious tag team match. Now, we're going to go over some of the highlights in this thing. This was all over the place. Kenny Omega's offense is fucking great. He just makes everything so exciting. Moxley got in there with Kenny Omega. It wasn't too much to a point where they ruined anything, because I know those guys are going to go into Full Gear and kill it. Pac and Page, they got a history, so they went at it as well. We seen Omega and Pac go at it. We seen Moxley and Page go at it. So it was all over the place. But the one thing here that everybody was pinpointing was the end of the match. Now, Moxley and Omega face off in the ring. They start swinging. They start throwing big haymakers at each other. Knees by Omega, headbutt by Moxley, and a massive lariat by Moxley that turned Omega inside out. Both Omega and Moxley go underneath the ring at this point. They roll outside to separate parts of the ring. we got Moxley and Omega going under the ring. And just like last week, Moxley grabs a barbed wire baseball bat, because that's synonymous, being in Philadelphia. And Omega grabs a broom that is wrapped in barbed wire. Now, the referee is trying to tell them, listen, what are you doing? You can't do this. It's not a no DQ match. Moxley, and I don't know this referee's name, but someone tried to tell me on social media that this referee has had a little thing with Jon Moxley where he fears for his life. And I believe this referee was the referee for that match where Omega went through the glass table by Jon Moxley. Now, I think. I could be wrong on that, but I think. Anyway, this referee said, fuck this shit. Moxley was threatening him with the barbed wire baseball bat, so he ran out of the ring, turned his back away from what was going on in the ring, and pretty much threw his hands in the air and said, fuck it, I don't give a shit, do what you want. I fear for my life with this guy in the ring. Do what you want. So the fact that Jon Moxley threatened the referee, and the referee was chased out of the ring, this is what led us to this questionable situation. Now, the referee gets chased off, and he goes to check on Paige and Pac on the outside. Or Pac. I gotta get used to it. Pac. Goes to check on Paige and Pac on the outside. Moxley smacks Omega with the baseball bat. Instant DQ. Should have been an instant DQ. I know. So Pac comes in, and after Moxley blasted Omega in the gut with the bat right into the gut, it was the bottom of the barrel of the bat. It wasn't the top. It wasn't the barbed wire part. It was the bottom. So Pac comes in, and he starts pointing to his head. He's like, think! What are you doing, you stupid idiot? You can't get yourself DQ'd. We gotta win this match. So Moxley doesn't give a shit. Moxley doesn't give a shit about Pac. So he gives him a double bird, and he gives him the Death Rider, double arm DDT, and he leaves. So Pac is in the ring. He slowly gets up. He eats a buckshot lariat from Paige. Omega with a V-trigger, and then Paige hits a Deadeye on Pac for a 1-2-3, and Paige and Omega win via pinfall. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be asking, well, JD, you didn't shit all over the referee not causing the DQ. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? The referee said, fuck this shit. I'm throwing my hands in the air. I don't want anything to do. Do what you want. It's referee's discretion. He fears for his life, and he's going to say, you know what? I don't give a shit. My life is more valuable than you and Kenny. I don't give a shit. So that's the situation. Don't harbor your feelings about this moment any more than you have to. Please. It's not that big of a deal. I guarantee you guys are not going to lose sleep over this referee, leniency in this match. Plus, if you think of the positive here, Kenny and Paige needed a victory. Now, Pac is not booked for the pay-per-view. I'm assuming he will be at the pay-per-view. I don't know why you wouldn't book him at the pay-per-view. But Paige needed a win. Kenny needed a win. And Moxley walking out was brilliant because he don't give a shit about anybody. He fits into his character, right? He left Pac there to lose. Kenny needed a win because he's got the big match with Moxley. Paige needed a win just because he hasn't won anything as of late. So it was nice for them to collectively get a win and Paige to get the pinfall on Pac. So look at the positive, look at the bright side on that. You got the baby faces going over the heels, and Moxley was unfazed because he walked out. Now, yes, Pac, he's still undefeated in singles action. This is only a tag team match, and AEW is putting their singles record and their overall record, meaning that, everybody on their roster has a singles record and a tag team record. So, he's still undefeated in singles competition. He just got pinned here. So it doesn't really mess with his singles run yet, but he did get pinned by Adam Hangman Page. We'll see if that comes into play in storylines going on into the next couple weeks. But the babyfaces win here. Page and Kenny Omega get the win via pinfall after a Deadeye and a V-trigger. And that was it. So next week, folks, listen to this. Private Party versus Lucha Brothers, AEW Tag Team Tournament. Soul Callis Uncensored versus Dark Order Tag Team Tournament. Then the finals happening the week after, which is going to be awesome. Britt Baker is going to be in action in Pittsburgh. Hometown girl. Young Bucks will be in action. They will be on the show next week. And then Pac versus John Moxley. Can't wait to see what happens there. So they are getting you ready for next week on this week's show. Simple yet effective. WWE, take notes. In the main event, guys, Chris Jericho versus Darby Allin, Philadelphia Street Fight for the AEW World Championship. This one was a no-doubter. Chris Jericho was not losing this championship before Full Gear. This was only done, simply done, to get Darby Allin over. That was it. Did they succeed in getting him over? Well, he's pretty over already, but he looked fucking great in this match against Chris Jericho. Now, Jericho brought back the Painmaker gimmick. He had his evil clown face paint on, and he looked like an evil rock star tonight. Loved it. Had the spiked jacket. Who's better than Chris Jericho, man? Seriously, he's got the AEW World Championship. He's coming out to his own theme song. A theme song that he and Rich Ward of Fozzy, ex-Stuck Mojo, wrote together. Who's better than Chris Jericho? Nobody. And the crowd was singing along to every lyric, man. And Jericho plays it off as if he doesn't give a shit, man. That's what a heel does. Now, I was slightly concerned. I was thrown off during this ring entrance. You know, where you see the record of the individual wrestler coming down for their upcoming match. Jericho had 0 losses on his record. I found this to be very bizarre. Because I should say we, are conditioned to see a champion lose every single time they're on TV. We've been conditioned by watching Monday night and Friday night. So I was very shocked to see Chris Jericho with a undefeated record as a champion in a professional wrestling promotion. So please, someone fill me in on if what we were seeing was correct. You know, champions normally lose on TV. Anyway, I had to throw that in there, man, because every time I see something that makes sense, I'm going to zing WWE on it. I really am. You got to make fun of them. If Jericho was a world champion in WWE, he would have lost 3 times already in the last 6 weeks. Fucking ridiculous. Chris Jericho versus Darby Allin, like I said, the Painmaker. We brought the Painmaker gimmick back, which is, again, attention to detail. It fits Philadelphia Street Fight. It just goes. It goes. He wanted to come down to Allin's level, so he brought back the Painmaker. And Jericho wrestled in a t-shirt, which I think he should do from now on. I really do. He was wearing his Inner Circle t-shirt, which was fine by me. We'll see if he puts those dad bod comments to rest, and he wears a t-shirt. So, this one was fun. It wasn't as great as I was expecting it to be, but it did the one thing that we all expected it to do, and it got Darby Allin over. Could have been a little bit more of a street fight, but we got what we got. Now, the one thing that happened here before they went to commercial was that Allin went flying through the ropes. Jericho threw Allin through the middle rope. And I don't know, the cameraman looked like he was out of position. I don't know if he hit the ring post, but he landed through the ring ropes. I don't even think he hit anything, for that matter. Through the ring ropes, landed on the outside. All I heard was like a fucking thud on the outside. Aubrey Edwards goes out there like a bat out of hell, goes to check on him. All I see is Darby Allin holding his knee. I'm like, this guy's hurt. I was waiting for her to throw up the X. That's what I thought. We went to commercial break, and he's back in the ring doing what he's doing. So I guess he wasn't hurt. So we hit the floor hard. That was a turning point in this match. Jericho used a kendo stick on Allin. Allin recovered. He dropped Jericho. Goes through cover. Allin clocks Jericho with a couple of kendo stick strikes and rolls him up. Hits a springboard crossbody back down on Jericho for a 2 count. Allin locks in a Fujiwara armbar. Jericho reverses it into a Walls of Jericho. Not the Lion Tamer, like Excalibur mentioned. He put on the Walls of Jericho. For the goons out there, there are 2 versions. Actually, it's not even 2 versions. It's 2 different moves. One's a Boston Crab, and the other one is a fucking Lion Tamer. Okay? The Lion Tamer is when Jericho pulls you back and his knee is driving into your fucking skull at the same time. The Walls of Jericho is a rudimentary, ordinary, basic Boston Crab. Got it? Take notes for the next time. For the goons out there. Excalibur got it wrong. Anyway. Fujiwara armbar. Jericho reverses it into a walls of Jericho. And Allin was able to break the walls. And this is where we talked about it earlier. Allin was able to break the walls of Jericho with a rope break. Now, Jericho and Aubrey Edwards were arguing, and rightfully so, because Jericho was thinking literally the same thing that everybody in Philadelphia and everybody watching at home was thinking the same thing. Why is there a rope break in a street fight? This is some WWE type shit here. This is like some fucking Hell in a Cell garbage that I'm watching on AEW. I expected better. So it happened once. And I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe they're doing something a little bit different. This is AEW. This is the first time that they had a street fight on Dynamite. Maybe the rules are a little bit different here in AEW. And maybe it's Aubrey Edwards just giving her vision of how she wants to call a match. This is referee's discretion. It's a no DQ match, but if Aubrey Edwards wants a fucking rope break, who's going to argue Aubrey Edwards if she wants a rope break? So I was trying to think logically. I was trying to think outside the box for this situation, but all I kept thinking about is it's a no DQ match, and we got a fucking rope break here. I didn't like that. No DQ, no rules. There's no rope break, folks. It is anything goes. You got a submission hold on you. The only way you're getting out of it is if you fucking get to the outside and have your opponent release the hold. Simple. So yes, I am with everybody. Oh, JD's not critical of AEW. There you go. This was some WWE-like garbage. I'm trying to think outside the box because WWE doesn't deserve for me to think outside the box and give them the benefit of the doubt. They just make mistake after mistake after mistake, and then you guys want me to forgive them. They don't give a fuck about you. I'm going to forgive AEW here because as we seen the match go on, we were like, oh, that's why they did it. Okay. So yes, there was a rope break. So we had Jericho and Edwards arguing over the rope break. Jericho was thinking the same as everybody. Allin hits Jericho with a kendo stick, crossbody off the top rope, goes for a cover, only a 2 count. Jericho hits a code breaker on Allin. The beginning of the end is near. He goes for a cover. Allin gets to the ropes again. So the code breaker could have been the end. He gets to the ropes. Aubrey Edwards stops the match and the count again. Jericho then grabs a chair. And he jams it into the midsection of Allin and then places it in between the turnbuckles. Now, commentary did note that rope breaks are allowed in this match. They mentioned it, but that's all they said. They didn't mention anything about the referee. They said it's allowed. Why is it allowed? You know, you mentioned it on commentary, but you didn't give me the why as to why it's happening. Is it an AEW rule? Is this going to be a rule from now on? You can't have a no DQ match with rope breaks here and then have another no DQ match and then have no rope breaks next time. You got to keep everything consistent. So this is why I don't like it. I don't know what's going on here, but I didn't really get the whole rope break thing, even with the ending of this match. So Jericho then grabs a chair. He puts it in between the ropes, setting up something dastardly. Jericho then with a Boston Crab. He gets to the ropes again, does Allin. Jericho then he gets frustrated at this point. He grabs some fucking tape underneath the ring. He goes to tape Allen's hands to his back. So now he's got no hands. He's defenseless. Jericho takes the tape. He goes to throw it into the crowd, and then he throws it down to the floor. So he teased the fans that someone was going to get a souvenir, and he says, fuck the fans, fuck the crowd, and that was it. So Allen's hands are taped behind his back. Now Jericho then, like I said, drops the tape to the floor. Jericho slaps Allin a few times and just throws him around the ring as he's defenseless. Allin dodges Jericho, hits a second rope moonsault with no fucking hands. A second rope moonsault with no hands. He goes for a cover and only gets a 2 count. Drop kick by Allin. Jericho out to the floor. Allin then hits a senton suicide dive through the ropes with his hands tied behind his back. Allin then climbs the rope with his hands tied behind his back. Twisting senton on Jericho. Crowd's going crazy. Jericho drops Allin, powerbombs him on the skateboard that Allin came flying in on. And he gets a 2 count only. Allin kicks out. Chair shot misses by Jericho. Allin kicks the chair in Jericho's face. Allin goes back to the top rope again. Referee's checking on Jericho, but as Allin climbs to the top rope, Jake Hager comes in. No rules! So even if Aubrey Edwards seen him, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know if she's seen him or not, but she went to go check on Jericho. Jake Hager sneaks in and punches Allin right in the face. He falls off the top rope. Jericho locks in the walls of Jericho again, and Allin says, I quit. Because he couldn't tap out. He couldn't do this. So he's told Aubrey Edwards, I quit, I tap, and that was it. Jericho wins via submission to retain the AEW World Championship. After the match was over, the rest of the Inner Circle come out with the bubbly. And they celebrate with Jericho, and AEW goes off the air. That no rope break thing, crowd was shitting all over it. They were chanting something about it's no DQ or something rope break. I don't know what they were chanting, but the crowd got on AEW for the lack of following the rules in this no DQ match. But as we seen in the ending with Jericho taping Allen's hands up, it was all calculated, it was all planned. The commentary has to do a better job as to not only tell us, but why is it happening? Is it a referee's discretion? Is this going to be a rule going forward? Something has to be said on commentary. And this is one thing that is commonly made as a mistake with this AEW commentary team. They tell you something, and they don't go into detail as to why. You can't have this match have a rope break and then do another no DQ match 3 months from now and have them have no rope break. It's got to be consistent. Now, the ending scene, Jericho tie Allen's hands up. That's why there was a rope break. Because Jericho was getting frustrated, so he said, fuck this shit, I'm going to tie his hands behind his back. There's not going to be a rope break when I get the next submission move on him. So there you go. But Allin, it was calculated. His hands were tied behind his back. It all played into the story of the match. And Allin looked like a fucking superstar at the end of this thing, doing a fucking suicide dive, no hands through the ropes, doing a fucking moonsault, no hands, springboard off the second rope, doing a twisting crossbody off the top rope with no fucking hands. I mean, the guy's fucking over. The guy was made into a superstar tonight just by the fact that his hands were taped. So, in the end, when people want to say, oh, look at the fucking logic gap, I shit on it, but it did its job. So I can't really shit on it too much because Darby Allin, in the end, was made to look great in a world title match with Chris Jericho, to a point where Darby Allin had Jericho beat with his hands tied behind his back, and it took Jake Hager to come out of nowhere to save Jericho from being beat by Darby Allin, who had no hands tied behind his back. You got to get the overall grand scheme of the story. You can't really shit on it for the rope break when there was so much more positive compared to the negative in this situation. The commentary team, it all comes back to them. They gotta do a better job at expressing why. Why? You just can't say, oh, well, this is the rule of this match. Can't do that. You gotta give me the why. Folks, this was a very good episode of AEW. Again, not a perfect show, but consistent. And I love the fact that they're getting excited about what's happening next week. I love the tag team title tournaments. Jericho and Allin had a very fun match that got Allin over. Jericho remains the champion. Full Gear is in full effect. The build is very nicely coming together. There's really not much to complain about. The little things that we're complaining about are things that are like fucking... They're like a small little blemish. They're like a little pimple on your ass. They're like a little blackhead. It's nothing big. You know, it's not this big fucking huge blemish that's staring at you in the mirror right on the fucking tip of your nose, and you got a big date coming up and you're gonna feel like a fucking loser and an embarrassment. You're going out with some hot broad. Oh, I got this fucking big pimple on my nose. I look like fucking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer ready to fly through the fucking sky and deliver presents with fucking Santa fat slob claws, right? It's nothing that bad. It's nothing that bad. It's just a little blemish. It's a little hiccup. That's all it is. They gotta fix those little hiccups. Because little hiccup after little hiccup after little hiccup, you know, fans are gonna start picking up on that. They gotta fix those little things. But all in all, this was a very good show. And AEW Dynamite continues to be the best thing on television during your pro wrestling weeks. So I'm loving it. And I can't wait for next week. Title tournament, tag team title tournament, private party. They got to do it. I'm going with my boys in private party to beat the Lucha Brothers next week on Dynamite. Thank you guys so very much. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the podcast, hit that thumbs up, and I will see you right back here tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, early afternoon, because I'm not watching it tonight. I'm going to watch it tomorrow morning when I wake up. Get a nice big cup of coffee, sit down and watch NXT, and then I'll see you guys in the early afternoon for NXT review and the podcast right here on the channel. Hit that thumbs up, guys, and I'll see you right back here for NXT on Thursday afternoon right here on the channel, and then we'll get ready for Smackdown Live and then off the script this weekend. So much more content left to come. Thank you guys so very much, and I'll see you right back here for NXT.